Okay, time to do some math. We have 5 and 13. I don't actually need the calculator to retrieve this number. I just don't think I want to say it out loud. So that was how yesterday went. Okay, it is time to check in and see how yesterday went. Didn't go great, but I think at some point I became aware that that was actually going to be the situation, and it actually was it made a lot of sense because, something came up that I had to do that I wasn't expecting, so that took time into my day. It would have been the time that I would have spent reading, so guess what? I didn't have time for reading, or I didn't have as much time as I expected, or whatever. But it's okay, because it was an important thing to get done. It was just like a household type thing, and, I'm very thankful and happy that it got done. So in the grand scheme of things, it's a good thing. Things are better than they were. In terms of my reading plans, it totally threw things for a loop, which is fine. We're in this for the long haul. It's only one day of the week, or one day of the month, or one day of the year. That's fine. Am I still sort of holding it and being frustrated? Yeah, of course I am. But it will pass. It will pass. So I did not end up reading tons yesterday. So from the 5, I actually did read a little bit of the diary of Anaïs then, and not a lot. I read 5 pages. So, but as I think I've mentioned before, I think the copy I have is a bit squished. So, because it's an ebook. So, it just makes me feel better saying it was more than 5. So, but I got to the end of the section that I was on, which wasn't my goal for this, but was my goal for several of the other books yesterday. So I kind of half of this, half of that still makes a whole, maybe. So continuing to love this. She has such a beautiful way of describing people and how they are and who they are and relationships. One thing that is, I noticed this time though, and this is one of those things, like before I posted videos about, books or videos or anything, when I would read nonfiction memoirs or autobiographies, there's something interesting about when someone talks about other people, especially famous people, not gonna lie, there's something interesting about it. But for me, as someone who, values privacy, I'm like, is it okay for her to be sharing this much about, these are mostly what she's sharing is her observations of other people that's what I'm referring to in terms of privacy. How much is it okay for you to say something about someone else, whether word for word what they said, your thoughts on them, that's, I think, kind of, some fair, but, I think there is a certain sense of sensitivity around even that as well. So of course, this is from 1934, so it's been a long time has passed. Some people believe that once a long time has passed, or everything's fair game. One of the reasons why I thought about it in this section is it actually came up because she talks a lot about Henry. I got to still figure out which Henry it is. I think it's Henry Miller. But I don't want to look it up because I don't want to be spoiled, because if I Wikipedia it and it has in the first bit something about her and, this is the, I know it's not, I know some people think nonfiction is never a spoiler, but I tell you, if you've ever seen the movie Control, okay, I'll tell you one of the reasons why I hate spoilers. So, side note, little story here. So, there is a film called Control. It is a biopic on Joy Division, particularly the lead singer of Joy Division. I saw it. I remember Joy Division, but I wasn't a huge fan or anything. But I just know them from Zeitgeist. But I was really into film at the time. So I was in line at a rep theater to see Control, and the people ahead of me were definitely fans of Joy Division, and we're talking about the band and the lead singer very specifically, and they knew what was going to happen in the movie. I did not know what was going to happen in the movie. So sure, it wasn't a documentary, it was a biopic, but it's talking about a non-fiction-y subject. And I'm like, they just just in casual conversation, just said the end of the movie, in line to see the movie. They haven't even seen it yet, but they knew the story. So I was like, by the way, Control is a fantastic film. I would definitely recommend it if you like music. It's a challenging film, but it was very good. But so that's one of the reasons why I don't like spoilers, because I have that memory, and I'm still mad at those two guys, you know, whenever that it was, like 2007 or something. No, it was probably more 2010, but 9? I don't know. Anyway, but still, I'm still mad at them. Sort of. Now it can be a story. And now that's my story. Am I allowed to share that story of those people from that moment? I don't know who they are. I'm not saying their names or anything. So, but it is something that I know that I feel very strongly about privacy, and I think writers generally can have a different view on what you are and aren't allowed to say, take, use in your stories, whether they be fiction or nonfiction, and it's in some ways I can say it's an interesting question, which is a way of not really saying anything about anything, to misquote my grandmother. Who says, she said, saying something is interesting isn't really saying anything at all. And and that's actually paraphrasing something someone else, my sister Jamie said, I think, or mom, I can't remember who said that. I don't remember my grandmother very well, unfortunately. She passed when I was very young. Anyway, I am so off topic. She's a wonderful, I have two grandmothers. I was talking about my mom's mom, and she's this lovely woman. Anyway, so yeah, so this has me thinking about those things, because they talked about a little bit about writing and being influenced by the people around you, and bringing those experiences and relationships and thoughts and stuff into the writing. And it very much is, because she's mostly talking about Henry's like perception of June, and it's like that even gets weirder, because it seems like he sees her as not as like there is something that he's trying to resolve or understand, or it's musy or something. And so if he writes about her, it sounds like his perception of her isn't how Anaïs sees her, which is our perspective as the reader. And so, you know, at what point, like, is it misrepresentative? Or at that point, is it just being influenced? I guess it depends on if you use the name or if people know and stuff like that. So anyway, so lots of interesting thoughts with this one. But yeah, so there's the part of me that is just curious and like, you know, wants to hear more, you know, about people. But then on the other point, I'm like, did they agree to this? And even this, because there's the volumes of 4 volumes of her diaries. And I actually don't even know if they were published with her consent, you know. And she talks about diary writing. So if you're interested in nonfiction writing, memoir-ish stuff, like doing that, there is some interesting discussion, and she does talk about them. But there, as I mentioned in some other clips, there is a fair amount of literary references. But I haven't had another one beyond just the names of authors. So this is that I got a lot out of that 5 pages. If I think of all of those things, that's a lot out of those 5 pages. The other book from the 5 that I read was Pirate's Passion by Lisa Kessler. I'm still absolutely adoring this. I only read 13 pages. It got to a really great bit, which will be a really great place to pick up next time. So I could have read more, but I'm like, ooh, yay. And so I'm going to leave that to be a good moment to come back to. So this is about immortal pirates. It's urban fantasy / paranormal romance, following a pirate an immortal pirate who is now a lead singer of a band, and a historian who's helping look into a historical / mystical artifact. And, you know, it feels like shenanigans are going to happen, and there's going to be danger. There's definitely, and there could be more stuff. Every time something is revealed, I'm like, ooh, I want to know more. So that's been really fun. So those are the 2. So if you have 5 plus 18, or 5 plus 13, I got a whopping 18 here total at the bottom. Yeah, not much. So I did read a couple of other things. Yesterday I read Here's the cover page. I read a lot from, my most pages from, came from, is it loading? Don't Go to Sleep by R.L. Stine. This is obviously a Goosebumps book, kids book. I read this during the commercials of my shows last night because I had 3 shows that I was watching live, and none of the 5 really fit into commercial watching. But Goosebumps is great. I can make it through a couple of chapters, or at least one during a commercial break, and I can stop at any point and come back at any point. And so this is fun. I feel like this is not really, where it's going is not really where I expected from this cover, but I'm still having a lot of fun with it. I got to 67% through, because these are kids books and they generally are 100 pages. I just, whatever the percentage is what I consider the pages when I'm reading them on overdrive. Because again, these are ones where it has the pages are dependent on the font size. So like this actually counts as 1 page, and that's 1 page, and that's 1 page. So it's not, there's not, and that's a whole page. So mind you, if that was a physical page, that would be a whole page. So anyway, so I've been reading that and enjoying it. That was the most pages I read yesterday was from that. And I did also start the Saga of Swamp Thing by, or I continued it. I started it but didn't add it to Goodreads yesterday because I was still in there's a foreword and a preface, or a foreword and an introduction, or an introduction and I can't remember. The first one I read, I liked the first one, which was from the original writer, Home Again, an introduction of sorts by Wein, who created the character, who also created the character of Wolverine. I didn't realize that. I enjoyed that. That gave some real context on where the comic started, its original history and trajectory, and how long and who worked on it then, and then sort of how the film came in, and then how this came back to it. But the original creator did not do this one. This one's written by Alan Moore, and so it just gave some context for that. And then there was also a foreword that was by Ramsey Campbell, who I started reading and I stopped because it was too much context. I don't know who he is in context. I don't see his name. So it started to say, so you will see in this. No, I'm going to read the book. I don't need that much context. I don't need to know the connection between the original and this one, and what's going to be different and what's going to be new, because I want to read this one. So I started it. It is and this one is from the 80s, and so I love the art. It's very full on the page, and I actually quite enjoy how the faces are done. We get awesome face of Swamp Thing in the side of the page there. Awesome. And I was trying to think, there was one really great page face. Oh yeah, this one. I really love this face. Really interesting artwork. Great positive, negative interaction there, going from detail to blurriness. Good stuff. Good stuff. And I think I know the story enough that hopefully I can figure it out. I don't remember who all of the characters are. This doesn't feel like an origin story. The Swamp Thing is already a known entity, and people have been looking for him or stuff. So it does feel like they're dropping him in the center of the plot, even though it is like a volume 1, which I am not a fan of. But I've watched the movie, I watched the TV show, and I've seen the character, I think it was either in Hellblazer or it was added to Hellblazer. I have enough context for the character, so I hope that they just fill in the blanks, and maybe as is done in a lot of things, there can be flashbacks to explain things. So anyway, so yesterday, although it didn't go to plan, I did end up having some great reading. Even though it wasn't a lot, I don't know what my plans are for today, because yesterday was pretty full on. I know I should get a fair amount of rest in today. Also, one of my tablets stopped working, so that sucked. But I forgot to share. Oh yeah, so my daily page count was low, right? Lowest out of any of the days at 18, so that's really low. But for this week, I'm at 182, and that puts the daily page count average for this week at 60. So I am under for the week because I didn't read very much today, and none of the days have I read a lot. So if I want to get back up to 72 average for the week, that means today I have to read 106 pages. Will that happen? Won't that happen? I have no idea. Yesterday was also the first day that how satisfied was I with my reading? Not the worst, but close. And again, it's contextual, you know, the other things that happened were important and I needed to attend to them. That's fine. You know, that's life. It's life, you know, and that'll probably happen throughout this week because there's other things that I need to attend to and that are, you know, above and beyond the regular scope of a regular week. So my reading is I was gonna say suffer from that, but that's a bit much. So anyway, so I think I might just reuse the plan I had from yesterday because it was very structured and see if that goes, which was to finish the current section and the next section of the Structure for Scientific Revolution, get to the next section of Polar Vortex, read any of the Diary of Anaïs, read any of Blood Magic, and read as much as I want from Pirates, which was not Pirates Passion, which I actually put to page 100, but I'm just going to change that to as much as I want. And maybe I will get to 106, and that will get me back on par for the week. I don't know. These titles take longer anyway, so I'm feeling the reality of that. I was going to say discouraged by that, but I'm not actually discouraged by that. I just feel like it's just a very different week than last week, and I'm surprised I got any reading in at all. But I did, and I'm glad I got some from the 5, even though it was a very low count. So yeah, so I, you know, as I said, I have other things I have to work on today, but I do I haven't scheduled things out, and there's just too many things. So, but I need some downtime, so that usually means reading. So hopefully I will get some reading in. It might mean there's a little less clips today because I need to sort of reset. And but we'll see how things go. So wish me luck. Let me know if you've seen Control. I had lots of tangents this morning. All right, or today, or whatever the time is. And yeah, all right, I will be back soon, and we'll see how things go. So I added the Saga of Swamp Thing and Don't Go to Sleep to my currently reading. And now I'm hitting refresh. This is the sadder moment. Yeah, back up to 38. 37. Numbers. It's early. Yep. I had made progress. Well, hopefully on Saturday, which is when I usually update with the finishes, hopefully that number will be reduced. Hopefully I will finish with both Saga of Swamp Thing and Don't Go to Sleep. Who knows? Could be.
Have you ever ordered others to do so?
No. Do your religious beliefs preclude you from exacting revenge, either physically or psychically, on those who might not share them?
Okay, it is time to get some reading in. I don't know exactly when I'm going to read. I do have my cheat sheet from yesterday, or my suggestion, which is finish the section of Polar Vortex, 1 to 2 sections of the Structure for Scientific Revolutions, 1 chapter from Blood Magic. Pirates Passion I'm going to save till later today and just read as much as I can. And then anything from Diary of Anaïs. I have about an hour and 10 minutes until I have a show tonight. I forgot that one of my shows was on tonight. Kung Fu is on, and the channel it comes in on is a bit intermittent, so sometimes I watch it and sometimes it doesn't come through and I get grumpy, and I'm already a bit grumpy today, so anyway, we'll see what happens. But so I'm going to start with Structure for Scientific Revolution and see where things take me. So it is time for that. So I'm going to set, I don't know why I'm going to set a counter, even though I know it's going to be an hour and 10 minutes, but something might interrupt me. Oh, I better get reading because I started. Found a pretty poignant line from the Structure of Scientific Revolution, and that one is, It is no criterion of goodness in a puzzle that its outcome be intrinsically interesting or important. So on page 31, chapter 4, Normal Science as Puzzle Solving. And I think that because these vlogs and this reading challenge does feel like a bit of an experiment, I kind of feel like that's really speaking to me, that there's no criterion that a puzzle of goodness in a puzzle that its outcome be intrinsically interesting or important. Or maybe it's depressing. Shouldn't it be, the outcome be interesting or important? I guess puzzles and experiments are slightly different, but like, it's an interesting idea. It's an interesting idea. I'm reading very slowly, but I am reading. Sorry, that light is right in your eyes. Here's one even better or contradictory. I'm not sure. Though intrinsic value is no criterion for a puzzle, the assured existence of a solution is. I like that. Not quite grasping it. Yeah, still thinking on that one. Very engaging when I can get close enough. Sometimes just water off a duck's back. Very quick update. I finished the chapter and read the next chapter of the Structure for Scientific Revolution. So I'm on 36 now and I was on 26. So 10 pages. That's nice and easy. And then I read some from Blood Magic. I had forgotten how confusing sometimes dialogue is. I find in these books by Nora Roberts, the speaker isn't often noted, and there are sort of like two sets of three, there's three couples, and they can often all be in the room at the same time in the kitchen, and they're always talking, and there's always lots of conversations like this, and I'm like, who's talking, who said that? And it's like, why not put the speaker? Said Brianna, said, I don't even know their real name, Finn, said, okay, so it's two couples, and then the people that are going to be the couple in this one who are resistant to it because of a past thing. Anyway, so I read 32 pages of that and 10 pages of that in, oh gosh, seriously, this is kind of embarrassing, an hour and 8 minutes, well, probably an hour more in 5 minutes, so 42 pages in over an hour. My reading pace is, and I did kind of nod off a little bit during Blood Magic. I am just not doing great. So, but it's already more than yesterday, I think. So 32 and 10, 42. So I need 30 more pages to get to my goal. Well, fingers crossed I can do that. I'm probably gonna watch Kung Fu. Oh, it's about to start, and read more of Goosebumps, and I'll see what else I can get up to. Finished watching Kung Fu. It was another fun episode, and I'm happy that the signal held and I was able to watch the whole thing. It was very helpful. I did definitely miss an episode at some point because there's one thing where there's some tension and some secrets, and I'm like, but they're secrets, so they're not telling anyone, and I'm like, you gotta talk to someone, talk to a friend, I gotta know what's going on. So anyway, it's a fun show. And during the commercials I continued to read Don't Go to Sleep by R.L. Stine, and Goosebumps book. It's one of the, I think it's 54 or something like that, 48, I don't know, one of the higher numbers, and yeah, and I finished it, yay! And I read most of it yesterday during the commercials of my shows from yesterday, and so, but that was 4 shows, during the commercials of 4 shows, which is roughly an hour, because it's about 45 minutes of TV to, 15 minutes of or 16 minutes, I guess, of commercials. And so, yeah, so that was good. Yay! I finished something. It's not on my list. It's not even on my extra title for this week, but I did finish something. So at least that feels good. So, yeah, so, and I got, what did I say before? 32 plus 10 pages. So I need 30 pages to hit 72 and more pages to hit 106, which was my get to average of 72 for the week. what was the math on that? So 106 minus 42, 64. So I don't know if that's too ambitious. 64? I don't know. So I probably will keep reading. I think I will mostly read. I didn't get to Polar Vortex. Depending on how tired I am at the end of the night, I might try and finish off the section that I started, because it's a really good read, but it requires a fair amount of attention. I find Canadian fiction is just like that. And then I do want to read more of Pirate's Passion, because it was getting good. It was getting good. I enjoy it so much. I enjoy it so much. And there are so many more books to enjoy. I can't remember when I think it's like the fifth book comes out this summer, because when I was reading Magnolia Mystic last summer, the author was in the process of writing like the next book, and I can't remember if that's the fourth book or the sixth book. So lots of books, and I can just like the Mercy Thompson series, which I enjoyed last week. I'm like, yeah, I just want to keep reading. I just want to read the next Mercy Thompson. But I also am at this point where, like, right now my focus is to read stuff from my currently reading. So I haven't sort of like made a decision about not starting new things. Like Goosebumps, I can read. I read it in 2 days, but I generally take up to a week. I'm not worried about not finishing a Goosebumps book. But for like longer novels, I haven't been thinking about new starts. So I'm trying not to focus too much on that, because I haven't even finished Pirate's Passion yet. But I think it will be something that comes up. And also the idea of, do I want to continue this format of reading from my currently reading beyond this month? Or is this just an experiment trying to pare it down? Or do I want to do that until a certain point? Do I want to finish X amount of titles before starting anything? Do I want to finish all the titles of a particular genre before starting anything? Because there's more romance on this list. I don't know if there's no more paranormal, romance, urban fantasy. I might have hit all of them in the first 2 weeks. That would be hilarious. I would have to check my currently reading, but that is definitely possible. There's another paranormal, but it's more horror. And there's more romance, but I think it's contemporary or historical. Oh my gosh. I think the stars aligned, because, it is one of my favorite genres. So yeah, so I am starting to think about that, but a little bit more in a theoretical sense, as a curiosity sense, not lay down the law, this is going to be the new way kind of thing. So I'm not even halfway through this month as an experiment as a whole, but I've started to notice with doing these logs is I am strategic. I'm often thinking about what would be the next step. How do I finish this mini goal? What would this approach look like? How could I, maximize blank, blank, blank. That's the way my brain works. And I like projects, and I like achievement, and I like efficiency. I also like enjoyment. So I gotta remember that a lot of there's learning through some of the nonfiction works, of course, but some of the books I'm reading are also for enjoyment. It's a combination, and that's actually probably what makes it a little bit complicated, is I don't read each book for the same reason. Wow, that's a fair amount of sirens. There's some over there and some over there. I don't know if that comes through. I never know if louder sounds come through, like louder but further. Anyway, I got distracted. So yeah, I don't know. I actually can't remember what I was talking about. But yeah, so I think I will try, and I will read more of Pirate's Passion, and depending on how tired I am, I'll try to get to Polar Vortex. Do you have to check in on my fishing quest on WoW to see if it has been refreshed? I did get, it was, I think, Fellblood Frenzy. Wow, more sirens. I'm gonna have to check the news. That's a lot. So yeah, I did. There was Fellblood Frenzy, which was one of the ones I needed. So now I need, I think it's called Crocodiscs in the City or something like that. And if I can get that one, then I can get my fishing achievement, and I can move from Outlands to North End. And that would make me very, very happy. But I have actually a bunch of stuff to do, because the day kind of got away from me, and I had some timely and time-consuming things to do earlier today, and I might talk about that more tomorrow, but I might just leave it because it's like I could just get all like grumpy about something and then it can be resolved, and then like who cares? Like I don't know. Like it's just one of those kinds of things. Yeah, so we shall see if the fishing quest is up. We shall see if I read more pages. But I usually do my last check-in. Like, this actually probably will be my last check-in because the next one will be the morning check-in, or the start of day check-in, which will be the start of the next vlog, depending on how short or long this one is. I never know, so it's hard to, you know, leave the, it's, oh, I'm losing it. I lost it. I was going to use an analogy and I couldn't remember. And then it was like a Hansel and Gretel thing. And then like, does anyone want that? Like, is it chocolate? Breadcrumbs? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. So hopefully my WoW quest is up and hopefully I get a fair chunk of reading. 30 pages, hopefully. Potentially even 64. So that is the goal. Minimum 30. Maximum 64. So, wasn't that the name of a drink or something? Alright, I'm tired. We're leaving it there. Alright, let's see if Old Man Barlow has the quest I am looking for. It is something like Crocodiscs in the City. There he is, where he is.
How are you?
The one that got away. Well, I guess today isn't the day.